guys, I'm here to talk to you today about how to properly clean and care for your Western tack. This is also useful in English tack if it's full leather. First things that we need to make sure is we have all of our equipment that we're going to need to clean our tack. I have a damp rag, I have my leather cleaner, I have my leather conditioner, and I have sponges if I need them. Now, as you can see on this saddle, it's a good one to work with because it is very dusty and dirty. And this saddle is a full leather saddle. We have 3 different types of saddle. We have this one that's a full leather. I've got this one that is a partly synthetic with leather. There are full synthetic saddles. And then we have this one over here that has a lot of tooling on it, which is all this detailing here. And then it has what we call a rough out or suede seat, where it's a little bit rougher on the leather. If you have a saddle like that that has the rough out or synthetic, the only thing that you want to do to clean those is use either a damp rag or a nice soft brush to wipe away the dirt. Don't use any leather cleaners or conditioners on it because it can damage the material. So the first thing that I want to do with this saddle is I want to take my damp rag and I want to wipe away all this dirt and dust. If you have mud caked on here, this will help get the mud off. You want to make sure that you try and get into all these little cracks and crevices. If you're doing this on your saddle at home, you can use a soft toothbrush to get into all these little cracks and crevices. Works a little bit better than a rag, but out here we like to use a rag or some sponges. So while I'm wiping this saddle down, I am looking and inspecting all my leather. I'm looking for any possible wear, extensive wear locations. I'm looking for any tears in my leather. Like my saddle strings can get torn very easily. I want to make sure that those are attached, that the conchols are attached. I want to check my fenders, my stirrup leathers, to make sure nothing in these areas are excessively worn or gonna come apart. On your saddle at home, it's best to take all this apart and clean it. Out here, we are gonna leave it all attached just so that it doesn't move position for where it needs to be for the particular horse that it is assigned to. So now I've got all that dirt and debris wiped off. So I'm going to take this all-purpose leather cleaner by Lexol. All the products that we use out here are Lexol. There are many different types of cleaners and conditioners out there. It just depends on your preference. So I'm going to take my damp rag and I'm going to put just a little bit of cleaner on there. I'm going to start at the top of my saddle and work my way back. And I'm going to apply this in soft little circular motions. I want to work that into the leather, get it all nice and clean and shiny. As you can see as I'm going, it's kind of bringing out kind of a darker color in the leather, kind of making it shine a little bit more. This will get any lingering dirt or debris that's caked into the pores of the leather out of it. If you run out of cleaner on your rag, you can always just put a little bit more on there and go back to it. Now you want to work this in. You don't need to wipe it off after you're done. It'll just stay on there after you've worked it in. So you can kind of see that there's kind of a silky residue on my saddle now. So it shows that the saddle is clean there. Next thing that you want to use is, this has leather conditioner in it. Again, maybe leather conditioner. Woo. A little bit goes a long way. You don't need a lot. As you can see, my saddle is drying. It's best to let it air dry before you apply the conditioner. If you're pressed for time, you can run your hand over a little bit, make sure that leather is dry before you put the conditioner on. Which my leather is now dry. So I'm going to start in the same area that I started when I started cleaning. And I'm going to go in little soft circles. The leather should absorb the conditioner. If you have a little bit of conditioner left over, you can just take a dry rag and just wipe off any remaining. But you want that to soak in. If you don't wipe off the ones that are the conditioner that's remaining, it can soak all the way through the leather and damage out your under padding, which you don't want to do. So if you get too much on your saddle, go ahead and just wipe it off. So you guys should be able to see a big difference from when I first started. How kind of light color the leather was. How dusty the saddle is. And now it's nice and shiny, almost looks like it's brand new. Doing this regularly will help keep the life of your leather so that your investment lasts for a long time. These saddles are expensive, so we want them to last. The other thing that you want to check when you are cleaning your tack, as you can see, the underside of this blanket is very crusty with hair and mud and dirt. If you see your blanket like this, let a senior wrangler know or Tara know. We want to get that switched out because we don't want to continue riding with this on the horse because it can cause pinching and discomfort. What you want your pad to look like is nice and clean. You don't want caked on dirt. This pad is brand new, so it looks really, really nice. If you do have something like this is okay, but we want to keep an eye on it. Sometimes you can just take your fingers and work some of that hair out. Otherwise, we do brush them out and power wash these. When you wash your blankets, let them dry naturally. Do not stick them in the dryer because it can damage the padding because these are made out of wool. You guys also want to make sure that you are cleaning your latigo. These latigos get bent and maneuvered a lot and can get torn very easily, so we want to check both sides of it to make sure. Some latigos have a side that is roughed out and some have a side that's smooth. Try not to put a lot of cleaner and conditioner on the rough out area because that can cause your leather to wear out on those type of latigos. This one's leather on both sides, so we can clean it on both sides. You also want to make sure that you are cleaning your bridle. Your bridle has a lot of working parts, a lot of moving parts. it can get worn out very easily. You want to check and make sure that your throat latch is not ripped and torn, that it goes all the way through. Your crown piece, your brow band is not torn. All of your tack should have a number piece on it. So this one has a number piece. This one does not. You want to check your bit. If you have a broken bit where there's two pieces here, you want to make sure that when you're moving it, it isn't sliding up or down the shanks right here, because that can cause pinching and discomfort on your horse. And at the part where it connects, you want to make sure there's no rough points that can cause, like on this bit. So we have what is called a solid bit with a port, and then we have a broken mouthpiece. So this moves easily. See how it moves freely through the shank? You want to make sure that this isn't super loose, that can cause pinching when it moves, and that these aren't super loose, that can cause pinching as well. There should be no rough spots on your bits, because those can cut the horse's mouth and be very uncomfortable. And we want to make sure those are all good. So you can see I have on both of these bridles, I have leather ties securing the reins. We want to double check those, make sure they are not torn, make sure they are nice and tight. This one's starting to come undone. So I want to try and put another knot in that. That can get very dangerous if you don't check these and you're riding in team and they come undone. Then you're going to ride with one or no reins. So you always want to make sure you're checking those, not just when you're cleaning your saddle, but you should be checking those before every time you ride. Your curb strap, you want to make sure it is nice and flat behind the horse's chin. It's not twisted, bunched up. These come in many different styles. We have leather, we have ones that are leather and a chain. Just if you have a full leather, make sure there's no rips or tears in it. If you have a chain, make sure your chain is nice and flat and not twisted, because that can pinch and cause unnecessary pressure on their chin. And you also want to make sure that for these areas where you have a screw, that the screws are nice and secure. I can't pull this apart, because again, that could come apart when you're riding and become a very dangerous situation.